what would, according to you, be the right age to start your kids off with music?
Before they're born. Right? I'm very proud to say we have 35 partner schools now all over India, over 22,000 students that we teach. We've got about a team of 110 teachers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's my aspiration? I want to be the Zomato or the Swiggy of the music.
I love that. I love that. That's amazing.
The music teaching world.
Parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kidsstoppress now.
Hi Kunal, welcome.
Hi, morning.
This is going to be a very interesting conversation because if you haven't guessed, this is our first ever episode that we actually have with somebody who teaches music. I'm wondering why have we not done this before. So welcome Kunal.
Thank you, Mansi.
And to that, that's going to be a fun introduction. Tell me all about childhood. How did Swirl happen and why did Swirl music happen?
Okay, so my childhood was not super musical in terms of I never played an instrument until I was much older. But my Bengali dad and my Parsi mom made it a really nice, fun environment for music. So there was Kishore Kumar, there was the classical music angle. My aunties from my dad's side learned Robindra Sangeet. So there was all kinds of stuff constantly playing in the background. I was always into cricket and football and outside the house stuff. But my first guitar came to me as a present from my grandmom when I was 10. I lasted all of 2 lessons because the teacher told me that I didn't have potential and the guitar just went, into the cupboard. It was for about close to 10 years. And only when I was in my second year of engineering did I discover that guitar. That had 1 string at that time. It was in my study leave for my exams. And I just started playing. And I guess it came to me very naturally to play tunes on 1 string. And my mother made a deal with me saying that if I do well in my exams, I study hard, she'll get me a new string set. That happened. And I got myself new strings and just picked up everything on my own.
So you have just busted the myth for me that kids should learn. If kids don't learn while they're kids, there's no opportunity for them to learn again.
Not at all, not at all. You're never too old or it's never too late to learn. We just started teaching a father of a friend of my wife's who's 93.
Wow. Wow.
So he's doing that. My mom picked up the keyboard from one of our Swirl teachers about 8 years ago in her late 60s. So,
you just
for everyone out there, music is timeless. It's never too late to jump in.
So Kunal, tell us about the Swirl journey.
So I started teaching that one kid just to make a little pocket money on the side, saw brilliant results. I loved it. 1 became 5, 5 became 10. I started talking to friends who would teach other instruments. So very soon, it became a loose version of what Swirl is right now. We were teaching the keyboard, the guitar, the drums and singing. And I got a big break at the American school. Worked really, really hard, managed 2 jobs for some time. And very proud to say we have 35 partner schools now all over India.
Wow.
Over 22,000 students that we teach.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And we've got about a team of 110 teachers throughout all schools in India that we train, we write curriculum for, we run programs, and we do lots of performances.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that a boy who just randomly picked up the guitar as a stress buster would come this far?
I didn't think so. But now that I'm in it, I'm loving it, and I think there's miles and miles to go.
Right.
Because of the incredible potential.
Amazing. Tell me, Kunal, you mentioned about how it was a huge stress buster. There was, while you were studying your engineering, there was angst, there was anger that I want to do something else, but I've got to do engineering. And I'm sure that's a large part of people, right? We end up taking up roles that are parents want us to do, careers that are choices. In fact, just yesterday on my Instagram, I wrote if Krishna was, if Krishna was born in the 21st century, then his mom would just be like, stop wasting your time playing the flute. Flute bajana is not going to be a career, right?
Yeah.
And so many parents kind of laughed over that. To saying that, music is a form of therapy. And you're working with so many kids in the special needs segment. You're working with so many schools which are more inclusive. How does music impact those children?
So, physically, music helps a lot with your motor skills. Your gross motor skills, your fine motor skills. So when you're playing the drums, when you're doing gestures, when you're singing, when you're doing strums on a guitar, that's all your big motor skills. Your coordination work is happening. When you do little keys on the piano, when you're playing guitar or ukulele or something like that, your fine motor skills are developing. You're part of a team. You're singing in an ensemble or a choir. You're feeling that you're part of something big, but you're also doing your own role well. So it helps in cognitive development. It gives these kids massive confidence boosters. Lots of kids become friends because they're in the same music class across schools or from within the schools. So we see so many aspects of their personality coming out. Like I said again, confidence is a huge deal that kids have to face today, so body image issues, everything can be overcome through music. When they play well, they are 10 feet tall, so that is one of the biggest things that comes out of music, along with the fact that it's a great stress buster.
Interesting that you say that. And like we were talking earlier, right, that you picked it up not knowing that this is going to be your career. Most children, most parents, in fact, I remember Glenn Duman mentioning this, that I don't understand why children are not taught music earlier, because the English language has so many words. Music has only 7 notes. So why do you feel like an infant under 2 cannot understand or respond to music or learn music? When we were growing up, music was a hobby class.
Correct.
It was largely an extracurricular activity. Has that changed? And do you see parents just looking at it as okay, we've given this exam to show in the, parents are never looking at it as mainstream careers. Do you feel like that's changing?
It is changing slowly. It is changing a lot since I was a kid, because when I decided to change streams, I had a banking job after my engineering for a bit to make ends meet, and when I gave that up to teach full time, everyone thought I was nuts except for my parents and my sister. Now things are changing, but there's a lot of work to be done. The mindset is slowly changing. Parents reach out to me and say, hey Kunal, my kid wants to do a career in music, can you counsel us? And we do.
Amazing.
A lot of our Swirl students who have been with Swirl for 5, 6, 7 years are studying music abroad or here, getting degrees and doing careers which are music related.
Interesting. So what are the career options? One is to be a musician.
Correct. So one is a performing musician, somebody on stage as a solo songwriter or a band, as part of a band. The other is to be a ghostwriter, to write lyrics and music for somebody else. Studio musicians is a big option. Music production, massive, with the amount of content that is coming out on OTT platforms and for films and ads and jingles and stuff like that. The need for background music, background scores, composing songs is massive. So that's another very, very big avenue.
You also mentioned that you're teaching over 22 plus schools. Was that
35 schools.
35 plus schools. Tell me, why is music an important part of a school curriculum? And what's your thought process when you're designing that curriculum?
Okay, so when we meet up with a school, we have a really nice meeting to see what they would like to have learning outcomes from the music program, right? Depending on what they want, we customize curriculum, but everything is centered around fun. The first thing I go with to every meeting I tell everybody that we put the fun in fundamentals. If music is not fun, then I don't know what is. Because people come to us to bust their stress, and if music becomes a source of stress, it's no fun for us to teach as well.
Yeah.
So our curriculums are all designed with one common strand in mind, which is keep it light, keep it fun, teach theory and difficult things, but in a fun way. So that is what we are centered around. And it's worked. We have 22,000 students, like I said, and most of them seem happy.
Interesting. When we say, when you're saying fun in the fundamentals and you're trying to make it fun, how does music really help children?
So, I feel it's a level playing field. Whether you are overweight, underweight, skinny, whatever the color of your skin, it doesn't matter. Music is a level playing field where you can express what's inside you. I have seen kids who are bullied normally in school go up on stage, kill it on stage, and these same bullies are now friends with them.
Yeah.
It's got this amazing power.
Yeah.
Kids after a recital or after a show or after even a good class, they just walk like 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
So it helps them boost a lot of their self-confidence. When you're playing in a band, you're part of a group, so that kind of teamwork helps. It helps you retain, it teaches you a lot of discipline as well. Like that rigor of practice, we as a music school don't say hours and hours, but we say 15 minutes a day will get you sorted. But that little habit will help a lot. So discipline comes, confidence comes, your right brain, left brain, both are working, so it automatically develops everything.
Interesting. Timi, you earlier spoke about eye-hand coordination. Is that with few instruments, all instruments? Do you see some instruments where kids do better with eye-hand coordination?
Yeah. Some more than others.
Yeah.
When you have to quickly move keys on a piano or hit strings on a guitar, which you're not supposed to just strum all of them, hand-eye coordination is very important, and it helps.
Right.
Obviously stuff like singing doesn't need hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
The drums need a tremendous amount of coordination because you're working your limbs as well,
Yeah.
all four.
Yeah.
Your feet doing the pedals and your hands.
Yeah.
So it's different stuff, but flutes can you spoke about Basuri, so flutes can help with hand-eye
I feel
coordination.
it's the toughest one. I mean, I'm sure you're going to disagree, but every time I hear it, I just feel like it's so beautiful, but I feel like it's just so underrated just because wo hamara hai, that's why I think it just gets...
No, it's underrated for sure, but like I tell everybody, for all instruments,
but
if
all
you
wind
break it down,
instruments.
if you break it down,
Yeah,
it's easy.
But you feel like wind instruments are tougher?
Not really.
No.
You just have to train your breathing.
Got it.
Breathing is 90% of all wind instruments. So if you can get your breath, you can have a strong set of lungs with exercise, which we do with a lot of kids, and dispel your air in a systematic way, not all at once or not too little at once. If you can organize that air coming out,
Right.
from the flute to your sax to your huge bassoons and oboes, everything you can do.
Okay. A question that comes from earlier what you said. You took the guitar at 10. The teacher said you were crappy, broke your confidence, you put it away, and then you brought it out when you felt like it. I am sure of so many hundreds and thousands of parents who are watching this, me included, our kids want to give up at some point in time because the discipline, the rigor, that 15 minutes of practice every day is not every child's play. And it of course breaks our heart because I don't think that any parent is not as invested as the child.
Correct.
What would you say to those parents and to that child?
So we try to make our classes as fun as possible. The brief I give to my teachers, every class needs to be an experience.
Yeah.
They need to look forward to the next class, right? So our teachers motivate them during the class. We give them light homework. We've got a wonderful reward chart that we have on our books that the kids can fill out themselves. So that motivates them. We constantly keep in touch with our parents. We're always available for feedback. We try and do performances regularly. So 3 months, 6 months, we do small performances. So your child's first gig will be something like, a performance for Nana, Nani, Dada, Dadi and a sibling.
Yeah.
So although it's 5 people,
Yeah.
your child is still doing a performance.
Yeah.
So they get motivated for that and automatically things fall into line. They pay more attention in the class, focus, practice increases, and that's how we kind of, push our kids and encourage them to do better. Because, for most kids it's just a matter of time. You're just powering through one wall, and once you're done with that wall, then it's smooth sailing.
Yeah, because I feel like for a lot of kids, music is like the engineering for you, right?
Yeah.
They do it because there are 2 types of children, right? One is kids who are just naturally drawn to it,
Yeah.
and some who are just powering through because
Correct.
mom is shouting, dad is
Correct.
shouting, whatever, right?
Correct.
And I've got to do it. It's another class.
But for that second
Yeah.
type of kid also, and I've seen this with tons of kids,
Yeah.
it's just that one critical point in time where they get a song that they like and they finally mastered it, or a friend is playing something so now they want to play, is that one little incident that is usually a tipping point.
Yeah.
And once that happens, it could happen at 3 months, it could happen at 9 months, it could happen at 1 year.
And before that, I'm just hoping that the child doesn't give up.
No, we try our best, and that's where communication with parents is super
Yeah.
important, because
and
parents are
communication
invested.
with the child. Like, I must say that my daughter is learning with Swirl, and the 3rd song that she learned, because she's such a Swiftie fan. I mean, she's such a Swiftie that the 3rd song that she actually learned was Love Story.
Correct.
Because she knows that I really love that song, and she wanted to play it for me.
Okay.
And I was like, did your teacher allow you to learn this song? And the teacher was like, you play a song you absolutely love, right? And you want to learn. And I thought that was such a break
Yeah.
from me trying to tell her that practice.
Yeah.
When she decided that she wanted to play that song for me, and she wanted to learn it,
Yeah.
I didn't have to tell her to practice it
Correct.
once.
Correct. It's the best motivator.
Right.
So, and that is where curriculum design is very important. So
Yeah.
we have a curriculum which teachers use as a loose guide.
Yeah.
And the moment they see that, okay, you know what, this kid would do well if we motivated them with this song or this
Yeah.
exercise or this technique,
Yeah.
we bring them in. We ask a lot of parents and kids what they'd like to learn to play
Yeah.
or sing after a few lessons,
Yeah.
because that is the best motivator.
Absolutely.
So our curriculum is very flexible and very loose, and while there is a curriculum in place, we like there to be a little bit of give, and the kids can also contribute, because ultimately it's a student-led kind of a thing.
Amazing. Tell me, what would, according to you, be the right age to start your kids off with music?
Before they're born, right? So the best thing to do for all you expectant parents is to play as much music as possible. There's nothing like wrong music, right music. You can play Hindustani classical, you can play your Mozart, you can play Elvis, you can play Arijit Singh. There is nothing that tells us that this kind of music is better or will make your kids a genius as opposed to this. So just surround yourself with music so your kid is naturally accustomed to hearing beautiful sounds. Give them a wide range of instruments to listen to. Your Indian instruments, your African drums, your string quartets from classical
Yeah.
music. Just expose your kids to as many instruments as you want. And then there are lots of programs. We have starter programs which start from your mother toddler,
Yeah.
go up to your pre-K, and then we start from grade 1 all the way to grade 8, and we also do your exam based stuff. So
Right.
Trinity, IGCSE, ICSE music, CBSE music, we do the entire supply chain.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You also mentioned that you do the whole spectrum, right, from mother toddler to the exams.
Yes.
Do you feel like it's become a very performance based approach where everybody does it, or the starting point, unfortunately, is the exams and the certification?
Sadly, yes. And that is taking some of the fun out of music. I do get that certificates are very important because it's a really good parameter to universally judge the progress.
Yeah.
But a big part of our job is educating parents also,
Yeah.
and telling them to let their kids have fun and then crack the exams. Because
Yeah.
if they don't have fun, the exams become another source of stress for them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like another biology or a physics or something
Yeah.
like that. That's why we've actually broken up our student base into 3 sets. So we have the Swirl Applause, which is a starter kind of a program where you're learning to play songs, do little performances for family, and then we put kids up on stage. We have the Swirl ACE, which is the exam certificate based program, which we tell kids to do first the applause and then merge into the ACE program. And then we have an aficionado program for serious hobbyists, for older people who've done guitar before, done keyboard before, and you want to get back into it with a good amount of rigor without giving exams. So we've broken them up, and we found this helps the parents make a choice to slot their kids in much better.
Right. And I'm sure you've got this question a lot. Kids don't want to practice. Parents are like, नहीं class की है तो practice तो करना पड़ेगा, and you are adding the fun to the learning, and we are as parents removing some of the fun to it by saying practice, right?
Yeah.
How does a parent make a child practice?
Okay, so we are not all fun and games.
Okay.
We teach the important stuff. We do the theory, we do the rigor, but we have it in a fun way. We kind of, make it attractive. We have a reward chart for these kids. We encourage them to perform at their schools. Nowadays, a lot of schools have their own little talent shows, so we kind of tell them to sign up for that. We do our performances here. We do Swirl music spotlights twice a year on a big stage where we get hundreds of parents in and a few dozen kids on stage and stuff like that. So that is a great motivator to practice. We have to sometimes pull the parent back and say, listen, this is our job, let us do it. Parents will say every day 1 hour, because that's what we've been conditioned with. We say every day 15 minutes, and every second day also 15 to 20 minutes is fine. So we kind of break it up like that, but a large part of what we do is educating parents to align their expectations.
Yeah, you still haven't given me the answer though. I still don't know how to make my child practice 15
Okay,
minutes.
so the best thing to do is find out a common couple of songs that will work for you and her. So if she wants to make you happy, or there's a birthday coming up, okay, it's dad's birthday, let's do 2 or 3 of his favorite songs. So these performance based incentives are a little bit of a thing. For younger kids, parents simply say, okay, practice for 20 minutes and then you'll have iPad time for 20 minutes, and that works really, really well. So there are different ways where a teacher comes in and helps the parent also push the child to practice. We've got practice records that the kids can log in, and then parents can kind of sign off on. So all these are techniques to help our kids get motivated.
Great. You mentioned about the screen, and that brings me to my next question is, we're seeing a lot of children have attention disorders or not the inability to focus.
Yeah.
How does music bring that back?
Okay, so a lot of that is in our teacher training program. All the teachers we send out, whether it's to a school or whether it's to somebody's home for a lesson privately, are trained on curriculum and soft skills. This is part of soft skill training, where we actually break up that 45 minutes or that 1 hour, what you do, into several subtopics. We don't only want to teach that same song again, because it gets monotonous. And our attention span as adults are shortening. So kids obviously will have that same problem. So we give kids frequent breaks, but in that break we like to listen to some sort of other music, like a music appreciation. We give them a cool off play, a downtime play. Sometimes the teacher will play a little bit. So that's kind of aspirational, that hey, this is the piece that I'm learning, but my teacher's playing it so much better. Let me try and get to that level. We discuss a lot of I do music quizzes in my classes. So the last 5 minutes is who was the lead singer of AC/DC, or I'll pull up a photo on my phone and say who is this composer, and it's Beethoven. And so we just naturally like to break it up, not teach the same thing for the entire duration of the class, because it would get boring, not only for you guys, the students, but also for the teachers.
Yeah, it's so strange that you're saying all of this, and this is exactly what happens in my child's class. So I'm like, wow. Like, it's like an epiphany, because I'm like, I've seen this. So it's so amazing that your vision and your thoughts are so well articulated to the last mile delivery, right?
Yeah, no, I have to thank my team for that, because we reinforce. The aim is to get quality teachers out. We're trying to make a change.
Yeah.
We want to change music classes from becoming just a hobby class, because then it's not taken lightly. This is what we do for our livelihood.
Yeah.
So we want to get these kids to get motivated, because then we are unlocking so much potential. It's unbelievable.
Right. Tell me also, the thing about learning music or performing is the ability to perform in front of a crowd or a large gathering.
Yeah.
How can parents handle if their child is shy or has anxiety or just fears larger performances?
Yeah. So again, slowly, baby steps. You start small and then you grow. So we like to have milestone performances every few months, like every 3 months, wherein your first gig will be your parents or your sibling or maybe 2 close friends. You know, it's a safe space.
Yeah.
You're not being judged. And we keep reinforcing that it's okay to make mistakes.
Right.
Once a child knows, chalo theek hai, I'll start again, or it's okay. What we tell the kids when you're playing on stage, don't stop. Just continue playing, because you'll catch up. You know. So we do that. So small performances, and then we'll see, okay, got confidence. 6 months later, real improvement. We call in 20 people, have something in the building society, or have something at a spotlight. And then when we have our big events, our showcase events, these children perform in front of 100, 200 kids, and that is usually when they've come out of their shell and stuff like that. Right. It starts small, and we see every session they overcome their shyness.
Kunal, we spoke of the children performing on stage, but there's also performance at exams.
Correct.
Can you walk us through the different exams and acceptance of each of these, and how should kids be going about taking these exams?
Sure. So there are exams, certificate exams, which we train our students for. I'll name a few. One is the Trinity College of London, where there's the regular Trinity exam and the Trinity Rock and Pop exam. There is the ABRSM exams, which is primarily British. There is the Rock School exam, and then there's the LCM, the London College of Music. So all these exams are universally recognized, although Trinity is the most popular in India. Our teachers are trained on all these, so we have specific teams of exam ready teachers who can come and help you. But I would request parents to first get your kid a really good foundation and then jump to the exams, because your kid will be able to play a lot more and then absolutely do well on the exams.
Right. And tell me, when you mentioned earlier that you have teachers, and if a child is not sure which instrument should I pick, and kids keep changing their mind very often.
Correct.
And in a Bombay home, investing in an instrument is a big deal.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So how do you help parents out navigate that journey?
So in our discovery program, we have a wide variety of instruments to choose from. What we do is we also rent out these instruments. So it's not your responsibility after a few months if you don't want to continue with it. You don't have to find a seller, or it's not occupying space. So we rent out everything from little ukuleles, little flutes, all the way to massive drum sets and pianos. So we've got you covered there. Our teachers come home, so that's another added advantage.
That's a huge advantage from a parent standpoint. I'm not coordinating traffic, car, house help, dropping, pickups. Like, you saved us from all of that.
Correct. So if you want to ask me what's my aspiration, I want to be the Zomato or the Swiggy of the music.
I love that. That's amazing.
The music teaching world.
That's so well articulated.
Home delivery of a music lesson at your house, and for instruments also we've got you covered.
Amazing. That's a great vision. How many years has it taken you to get here?
This is my 25th year, in fact. So I started in 1999 in August. Started teaching a few kids here and there. My first job was at the American School again in 1999, where I was the assistant to the assistant to the assistant. So I was photocopying sheet music, making sure the chairs were fine, cleaning out the saxophone and the instruments. So that was my job, and I learned the ropes, and I learned, and now we run the entire elementary school after school program at the American school. So yeah, it's been a big journey for me, a long one. And on the way, we've got so many other schools. So
tell me a few.
We've got BD Somani, we've got the German school, the French school, we've got Ascend, of course the American school, Bombay International, these are the international schools. We've got Bombay Scottish, we've got Cathedral, we've got the
school
Pettit
you've left
schools.
out. let's put a list of how modest is he even like naming all these schools. Like you can just say, okay, I don't teach at.
Yeah, for the ones who don't teach, we're coming to get you.
But it's amazing. And tell me memories of one of the few students who would have started out with Swirl and actually is like, you know, maybe doing a career in music or actually at a music school or...
So the kids who we've got are kids who tend to stick with us for a long time because we build those relationships.
Yeah.
We call our teachers mentors.
Yeah.
You know, so because we see them as part of a family of the students. So I've got several students like this, but the ones who come to mind, I'm dropping a few names here, but Hrithik Roshan and Suzanne's kids.
They trusted you early on, very
early. It's been about almost 10 years with them.
Amazing.
So happy that their older son is going to Berkeley.
Wow.
I've been with him for 9 years, but he's so hardworking and fantastic. But just so many success stories on the way. Abram does really well performing. He's composing songs with me. So there's a lot happening. And all these kids, you know, whether you're a star kid or not a star kid, they just, when they love music, they just go all out, which is so good to see.
Which is amazing, which is absolutely amazing. Tell me a very interesting thing that you said early on, which is about music is like a team sport. We always think like music is silos unless it's choir or, you know, it's a ensemble, right? And you know, like you feel like, okay, I just need to play this part, but we don't realize that there's so much sync that's going on. How does it help a child's social skills?
Massively, and that's one of the things we do. We also do bands. So we do bands and we have competitions and we get these bands to perform at various venues and things like that. Playing solo is fantastic, but it's just another high playing with another musician. That's kind of completing the song. You know, very often when you're playing guitar, you're imagining the drums in your head. But when you've got a drummer or when you're in a choir or a vocal ensemble with 20 other kids singing, it's just that really fantastic feeling of doing something in a team and accomplishing something. So we do a lot of that as well.
Right. What advice would you give to parents in terms of how do they go about maintaining a balanced approach with education and music, not just as an extracurricular, but music is that balancer in their lives?
Absolutely. I need parents to understand that they need to have something apart from academics to balance. It could, I'm not only going to push music, it could be
Sports,
a sport,
art.
It could be art, it could be anything, it could be pottery, you know. But music is one of those things that even a little bit of a dose of music regularly, whether it's daily, every alternate day, will do wonders for your child's stress levels. So there's a lot of you know, study that's shown kids who do these things apart from academics. You know, they tend to be more rounded, they have a better outlook to life. Kids who learn music from Africa and South America tend to have more knowledge of the world and be more tolerant overall. You know, so these kind of things help shape our kids into great human beings who are going to run the world tomorrow. You know, so a lot of that is down to parents. Parents also, I want to talk directly to parents right now and tell them that they need to align their expectations. You cannot get your 3-year-old to give a Trinity exam. No. You cannot get your 5-year-old who's come without any lessons to have a mind-blowingly Mozart-like performance when he's 6. It's not going to happen. Don't pressure yourselves, don't pressure your kids. Keep it fun, keep it light, keep it simple. Your kids will find a way. Today's kids are so confident, they can make up lessons, they can make up practice. They just need a little spark. And like I said, the spark can be there from the beginning it could come in at 6 months, it could come in after a year. But as parents, you need to kind of be there to support them and just provide for lessons, because once that spark is lit, the fire is never going to come out. Like me, for example, 10 I did lessons, my teacher threw me out of class.
Yeah.
At 19 I started, and now it's my life.
Yeah.
So you never know, it just takes that one little spark.
Right.
And
Coming to that teacher, do you map a child and a teacher? Because
Yes.
you got the wrong teacher. Is it now that you're extra careful that the wrong child, a child does not get
Yeah.
a teacher that he finds complete disconnect with?
Absolutely. So it's all the mistakes that I've seen and I've made in these last 25 years are now helping us with curriculum and teacher training. So when someone wants a particular teacher, we match the skill sets, we match the temperament.
Yeah.
Very often parents say that, okay, my kid's been diagnosed with ADHD. So automatically we will send a teacher who's a little bit of a calming influence, a more patient teacher and
Right.
things like that. So we've got a whole bunch of teachers. Of course, all our teachers are trained to work with all students, but there are some inherent qualities which will
Absolutely.
shine through, and then we can match. So that's the beauty of what we do.
Right. And you also mentioned about the three programs
Yes,
that you have, right?
yes.
And kids who are performing for each or are part of each of the programs, whether it's Applause, ACE or Aficionado, how do you track progress? Like, what is the metric
Okay.
of progress for each?
Sure. So when we start off, we recommend the Applause program because that's your foundational work in music. That's where you learn different genres, different techniques, different songs and things like that. After which you go into the other program. Now within that program, we do checks. We have a loose curriculum that we all refer to. So by 6 months, the student needs to be at a particular point or there and thereabouts.
Yeah.
So we've got a roadmap which parents can see on our website as well, to track progress. We also do these little performances that are proof of concepts for the teacher, for the parent, for the student, So we do that, and then if the kid wants to continue with Applause, fantastic. We just keep going higher and higher and higher. Otherwise, some kids shift to the exam one, which is the ACE program, wherein we've got prescribed curriculum by the Trinity or the ABRSM or the Rock School board, and we coach them on that.
Which is the right way to go?
There is no right way to go. It's an art form. So ultimately, you've got to
Are
enjoy
parents
it.
crazy saying that, no, I want to focus on the exams? Is that wrong?
I can see where they come from because it's a rat race once you hit that university level. So I know why they want to collect a certificate. But if you're pushing a non-musical child or a child who's doing tennis and pulling him out of tennis and doing music to get a certificate, I don't think that's fair on the kid.
Right. But if you're doing Applause
Yeah,
and you don't care about the certification,
Yeah.
is that a right approach?
it's absolutely the right approach. We have so much of YouTube content that we generate. So later on, when a kid wants to look back at his timeline on a particular instrument, from the very basics of singing right to singing on stage in front of like 400, 500 people, you can stitch that together. And that is our proof of concept. A lot of times I tell the parents, because they say, okay, we don't want to give exams, but what is the test for our kid?
Yeah.
Your test is playing in front of your family.
Right.
Your test is playing for 20 kids at a party. Your
Right.
test is playing in front of 400 kids at school or at a Swirl spotlight. So
Yeah.
these are the milestones that we like to track.
Amazing. I know you already mentioned that you want to be the Zomato for music. What's next? Like, how are you going to get there?
So we are working a lot on growing our business now. We are luckily at that stage where schools and bodies and people are approaching us.
Yes.
Hey, do you want funding?
Yeah.
Or we want a, you've done a 0 to 1 grow, we take you from 1 to 10. So we are in that slightly enviable space.
Do you want funding?
Not at the moment. I want to grow it on my own steam right now, make
Yeah.
it as big as I can, because I know I can do it.
Yeah.
When the time comes for that phase, of course, I know there will be plenty of people reaching out. But at this time, I want to focus on crystallizing quality in my product. That last mile needs to be perfected. We are always a work in progress, and we want to focus on changing the mindset of parents. We're there. in a few years. We're not there yet, so it's a work in progress, which will happen soon.
Right. And you spoke of the last mile delivery. How do you ensure that that last mile delivery is perfect and it is your vision?
It is. So I tell all my team, all my teachers that we are primarily in the service industry.
Yeah.
You know, so giving your student the perfect experience in every class without quality dropping even 1% is what we have to do.
Did you train them personally?
Yes, we do. So teacher training is something that we are very big on. Quality should not suffer whether you're going to a school to teach an in-school program, an after-school program, a workshop, or even going to somebody's house to teach them one-on-one. We're very rigorous with our teacher training. I take sessions myself. We have handbooks on teacher training, how to prepare yourself, the feedback to give after the classes are done, what to teach, how to balance fun versus teaching them in a class. We do good touch, bad touch, and POXO training, which is absolutely the order of the day now. And we do all these things to make sure that every class is an experience. WhatsApp groups are created for easy communication between mentor, coordinator, and the parent and the student. So in case there's a cancellation or we need to have another makeup session, it's all done on that. So it's pretty seamless, the communication.
Right. That's interesting. Kunal, tech has become such an integral part of our life.
Huge.
How has it become a part of music, and how do you make sure that you're kind of up to speed with it with music?
So tech played a huge part during and after the lockdown.
Yeah.
We were all forced to go on
Yeah.
to Zoom to innovate lessons,
Yeah.
lesson plans, curriculum, all to be delivered online.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that my team worked very hard that first couple of months in the
Yeah.
lockdown, and we made it work.
Yeah.
So in the lockdown, we actually saw a spike in the number of lessons because we were now open to
Yeah.
across the world.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say that we've retained so many of those kids from Delhi, from LA, from Japan, from Australia, from London, who are still with us.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a big part of what we do, and tech is a big part in what we helps us to enable these lessons. We have lots of sound setups. We have special Zoom settings for musicians that help us a lot. You know, our teachers have setups in their houses which can filter out sounds and make it absolutely crystal clear. So that way, tech is helping us in the front end. We are also working on an app which in its stage right now is going to be primarily for coordination of teachers for home lessons.
Yeah.
We're going to eventually take that to have lesson deliveries, reminders, and all to parents, where they can also upload clips and things like that. So
That's interesting.
lots of tech stuff in the work. Very, very excited.
That's very impressive. That is very, very impressive.
Thank you.
Now I see how all of this is fitting into your vision of being the Zomato for music.
Yes, and this is the 1% of my engineering brain that I'm
Thank
using.
God his father pushed him to engineering, and thank God he picked up the guitar at 18. You don't pick it up only thinking that, oh, like, you know how most boys think, like, oh, I'll have the guitar and the girls will just like swoon over me with a guy with a guitar.
I was in engineering, so no girls in engineering, number one. Number two is, it was anything to keep me away from studies.
Yeah.
You know, I just wanted some distraction. I would stare on the crack on the ceiling for an hour and find joy in that. So I saw this guitar, started playing it, and then the rest is history.
Right.
You
So
know?
the engineering did help eventually. So please listen to your parents. It really helps. Even with whatever you do later in life. But that's very, very interesting. You said you make everything fun.
Yeah.
How do you make theory fun for children? It's boring.
We break it down and just make everything a game. I'll give you an example. Who doesn't like pizza? We all love pizza,
Yeah.
right? So a whole note is the entire pizza. A half note is a half pizza that you share with your parent. A quarter note is a quarter slice of pizza. So, you know, doing that, how many pizzas is this note?
Yeah.
You know, automatically kids kind of, you know, resonate with that and they get it.
Right.
You know, I'll give you another example. So if you say tea is one syllable. If you say coffee, it's two syllables. So that's two notes, two half notes. And if you say cappuccino or watermelon, that's four. So we play these games where we go tea, 2, 3, 4. cappuccino. So you're now fitting in 4 notes in that same way, and we do it with lots of fun stuff like these little tambourines. You've got a shaker, you've got those maracas and stuff like that, and I've got these little, little mini cajons they're called, and these eggs. So we make it fun, we make it colorful. We do a lot of workshops where we do worksheets. We give out kids worksheets, and the worksheets could be as simple as color in the ukulele or join the dots to make a drum set, and they just love it, or find the guitar in the maze, and they just love that. So our effort is just to make music as much fun at every level.
Yeah, I just feel like if I had a teacher like this, then I would have possibly someone who I keep saying like is not musically inclined or has no M or no gene of music in me, would have definitely done a lot better.
That's another myth that I want to help bust. Everyone's got music in them.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to dig a little deeper. Maybe
I'll
for
find
some
the right teacher. So
Could
maybe
be,
that's
yeah,
what I need to
yeah,
do.
there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I just need to find the right teacher.
Absolutely.
And believe that I have it in
Yes.
me.
Yes.
I'm going to do that. But thank you. This has been an incredible conversation.
Thank you so much for having
I have
me.
learned so much. And I am glad that you picked up the guitar out of anger, angst, looking at those cracked walls at the age of 18, because that's how we got Swirl music, and our kids are really, really benefiting.
Thank you.
So really, thank you so much for creating
Thanks for
what you
having
do.
me, Mansi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kidsstoppress now.